Welcome to Coach O's Math, and today we're talking about volumes of prisms and cylinders. Okay, so when we're talking about prisms and the volume, let's talk about what we're actually talking about. We have this box, and we want to know how much it will hold. But we're going to, in the box, it'll say that it holds 13.7 ounces. But the first thing we have to do is determine how much the box will hold in cubic inches. And then later we'll learn how to convert cubic inches, how many cubic inches fit in this box, to how many ounces there are in a cubic inch, and then how many ounces the box will hold. So when we do this, we don't need to know, we don't have to have the top, we don't figure the top in it. We need to know the measurements of the box. So here's the prism, and what you want to think about is the base. Here's the base. How many of these bases will fit in this box? So to find that out, if you look at it, we take the area of the base, which is length times width, okay? We take the length times the width, and then if I put this in here, like that, and I were to have a whole bunch of those to stack them up to see how many were in here, that's what I would find. How many inches does that hold? Okay, so think about layering, filling this up with the base, the measurement of that base, and how many that would hold. So what's going to determine? So we can find the area of the base, whatever it's sitting on, the measurements of that. And then what are we going to multiply by if we're stacking them to see how many it will hold? The height of the box, or the height of the prism. So the volume, to find the volume of a prism, you're going to say volume equals, you're going to find the area of the base, which is length times width. We're going to put it in parentheses to help you remember that it's the area of the base, area of base, times the height of the prism, times the h of the prism, height of prism. You do that for every prism. You find the area of the base. You have to determine what the area of the base is. We're going to talk about a triangular prism in a second. But basically, this is a rectangle. So length times width of the base, and then you multiply the height. That's simply it. When you do the volume of a cylinder, so again, how much it holds, okay, okay, here we go. So again, here's a cylinder. What is the base the shape of? It's the shape of a circle. So we need to know the area of the circle to see how much will be held inside the candle or this jar. So I take the area of the circle on the bottom. I find the area of the circle for the cylinder. To find the volume, I find the area of the base, because I'm going to take these and I'm going to fill it up, right? Let's see how many this will take to fill it up. So it's the same thing. We take these circles and we fill them up. So we find the area of the base and we multiply it by the height of the cylinder. So volume for area of the cylinder, volume for the cylinder becomes V equals, we have pi r squared, which is the area of the base of a circle, which is a circle. It's always a circle in a cylinder, so it's always pi r squared, times the height of the cylinder. The height of the cylinder. This height right here. Okay? Now, units will always be, when you're finding volume, when we're finding area or surface area, it's always square units. Everything is square because you have to put little squares on top of what you're trying to cover. When you're finding the volume, you have cubic units, because what we're actually doing is we're going to be filling this. I mean, I showed you that so you can think about filling it to the top, and you multiply it by the height to see how much it'll hold in cubic inches. How many cubic inches is that? So it's always to the third power when you have volume, because it's a cube. You're putting stuff in it, you're filling it. And they stack, and they're not flat. They're cubes. So the volume of this rectangular box right here, you go, the base is length times width to get the area of the base and multiply it by the height. There's 3 numbers. The volume of the cylinder, you take the area of the circle, pi r squared, and you multiply it by the height of the cylinder, and you have how much volume it has and how much it'll hold. So it's expressed as inches, cubic inches, inches cubed, yards cubed, you say cubic yards, cubic inches. And then if I don't give you any units, you can't just leave it blank. You have to put units cubed or cubic units, because you don't know what unit they're talking about. For a triangular prism, I don't have a triangle, I took it to school, the base will be, remember it's opposite ends, but you have to divide it by 2. Base times height divided by 2. You find the area of the triangular base. That's the area of the base. And you multiply it by the height of the prism. And you'll get the volume for a triangular base. So, here is an example of the Ritz box. Okay? The height of this was 8 inches. The base was 8 inches long by 2 inches. So we got to find the area of the base. So volume is length times width, the base, length times width, which is 8 times 2. This is 2. 8 and 2, this whole area, multiplied by the height. 8 times 2. Now the thing is, I put it in parentheses. I want you to put it in parentheses, and this is how you show your work. You have to identify all the parts, and then you plug them in. Because when we multiply, you know you can just multiply left to right because it's all multiplication. So it's 8 times 2 times 8. But I want you to designate the parentheses around the base so that you don't get confused. So this, when we multiply it out, comes 128 cubic inches. When we did the candle, the height was 4 inches. The radius was 1.75. Diameter is for the perimeter. This is 1.75. The radius is half of that. So, okay, so you got that? Because it's 3.5 across inches. It's 1.75 radius, because you need the radius to find the area of the circle. So I have volume equals pi r squared, because we have to find the area of the circular or the base, the circle or the base, times the height of this, right? So we have pi times 1.75 times 1.75 times 4 inches, because that's the height. It comes out, you could just multiply it across, 3.14 times 1.75 times 1.75 times 4. If you have a pi button, you can use that. The volume is 38.465 cubic inches. That's all you do to find the volume. And then later, when we do word problems, you're going to find out how to convert into whatever it's going to hold. Because this could be holding, this is holding crackers, and they measure the crackers by the ounce, not by the number. It could be holding marbles. And then you'd have to know how many marbles are in a cubic inch. How many would hold in probably 1. That'd be pretty marble. So how many marbles would fit in here if we had 1 marble per 1 cubic inch, and there's 128 cubic inches, and there was 1 marble that fit in this little cubic inch, you'd have 128 marbles. So it would say contents 128 marbles. See how that works? You'd have to be able to convert it. Depends on what you're putting into it. And then the last one is the triangular base. The difficulty with this one, as you know, is you got to find, if you see a triangle, it's a triangular base. Just remember that. Just remember it's a triangular prism for right now. Because when you see that, you have to find the area of the base. And the formula for the triangle is 1/2 times base times height, or base times height times 1 divided by 2, whatever you want to do. But see, it's still times the height. But this one isn't standing up. It's laying on the side. So you have to see that the height is the 20. That's the length. And this is the base because it has one on the opposite end. Okay? That's really important. So this is a triangular prism. You find the triangular base area by using the formula for a triangle. 1/2 times base times height divided by 2, however you want to do that. times the height. But notice what I did. I put it in parentheses to show the base of the area. Then this is 10 and 8. It's a right triangle. The height is 8 and the base is 10 of the right triangle. So I have 1/2 times 10 times 8 times the height, which is 20. I don't have any units. So you got to write units. So I get 40 times 20 because 1/2 of 10 times 8 is 40. 40 times 20 is 800. But it's volume. So you have to put cubic units, U3. If I don't give you the units, you have to write U for the whatever unit it's. If you don't know what it is, it could be a whole bunch of different things, especially if this was a scale model. And you're representing something else. You're going to build this little scale and then you're going to blow it up, and they don't want to put the units on it. Okay? So anyway, write down 2 things you've learned and 1 question you still have. And I probably will give that as the graded assignment. So bring those in, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Oh, and you should be able to finish the homework after watching this video.